Hey everybody, I'm Zach,
And I'm Jesse.
and you're watching Tesla Time News
Episode 116.
on Now You Know.
This episode was brought to you by our amazing Patreons. They make this show possible every week. It is also sponsored by
SFSF, who make these amazing t-shirt designs. You can head on over there, and every time you get a t-shirt or sweatshirt or mug, it helps support the show. And don't forget, use Jesse's referral code so that you can get a ride in the next generation Roadster.
Yes, this runs out very soon, I think in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So be sure to use it if you're getting a Model 3, Model S, or Model X.
You might want to win a Tesla, Jesse. And if you do, our friends at Climate Exchange are up to it again, trying to help the planet and give away, this time, 3 Teslas.
Wow.
Their motto is make a difference, win a Tesla. 1 ticket, 3 chances to win. The tickets are $250. The drawing is going to be on January 1st. The first prize is a Model S, Model X, or Model 3 Performance. And then the second and third prizes are Model 3s.
Wow.
So putting a price on carbon emissions will position our economies for a faster transition away from fossil fuel dependency. So go check it out. So the Superchargers were up for a little test this Thanksgiving. As we all know in the United States, Thanksgiving is one of the busiest travel weekends. And according to Electric, there were a few crowded Superchargers during the busy Thanksgiving travel holiday.
In Culver City, California, the 16-stall Supercharger at one point had 8 cars waiting.
And you know, no one likes to wait, but I do want to point out that what's kind of cool for Tesla is that the Thanksgiving weekend gives Tesla the chance to see what the kind of worst peak travel will be. It's built into our American, culture that's when everyone travels. So if you can survive Thanksgiving, then basically you did a good job with your network. Now, I would argue that at a 16-stall Supercharger, 8 cars waiting isn't going to take that long because generally most cars are there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah, and I mean, when it's maxed out like that, it might be as high as 40 minutes, but you have to keep in mind that people have been trickling in, and so they're going to be trickling out at the same rate. So you're really not going to be waiting longer than 40 minutes at the very maximum. And most likely you're going to be waiting even less than that, which means that you're maybe waiting 20 minutes. It's really not that bad compared to what it could be.
As Fred from Electric pointed out, Kettleman City Station, which has 40 charge points, reportedly wasn't full all week. Right. So they knew that would be like a choke point, and they overbuilt it.
Right. Now you might be saying, okay, well, how bad could it be, Jesse? I drive my car and I just go to the gas station, and there's always room at the gas station. And that's a good point. There is always room at the gas station because it is, again, very fast to fill up, and there's also so many gas stations in the whole world.
Right.
I want to tell you a little bit about what the worst case scenario could look like. I drive a Leaf, which means that I can charge at charge points, which is very slow. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to fully charge my car. Or I can go to a fast charging station or a CHAdeMO. CHAdeMOs are great. Charge me up in about half an hour, and I have another 80 or so miles of range. So that is a good way to do long distance traveling. But here's the problem. CHAdeMO stations usually have 1 or 2 chargers.
Oh.
So you go to the mall, and you might see them at malls where you live. There's usually 2 spots for an EV charging. One of them might have a J1772 adapter, and the other one might have CHAdeMO. Sometimes there's 2 chargers in 1 spot, which is kind of silly. So there's only 2 slots, which means that it's Thanksgiving, everyone's traveling, and anyone who is crazy enough to do their holiday traveling in a Leaf needs to use those chargers. There's just no other way for them to get from point A to point B without stopping at point C, which is the charger. And you have to charge there. You pull up, and I've pulled up on non-Thanksgiving days to chargers when I needed them, and someone was charged there. Here's another issue. There's no enforcement of, unplugging your car and leaving after your car is full.
Right, because even in the worst case where you're paying for the charge, you're only paying while you're charging. So after it's done charging, they stop charging you money, so there's no reason to leave the space.
Tesla chargers are completely different. Tesla charges you a fee after you are charged, and the charging station is more than half full.
And your app gets notified, so even if you forgot, you're like, oh, geez, I have to run out to the car and move it.
Because otherwise, you're going to start getting charged. And there's a 5-minute grace period. It's all very well made so that way it doesn't inconvenience anybody. So people are constantly pulling their cars out so that way other people can charge. Not the case at the Chatamo Charger.
Right.
Constantly people are just parked there all day long just because, oh, sweet, free spot in front of the mall. Sometimes it's a Prius Prime. Sometimes it's just a pickup truck that decided that would be a good parking space.
And as Elon tweeted out, Tesla Supercharger capacity will double by the end of next year. Expect to be within range of 95 to 100% of population in all active markets. So they're not resting on their laurels. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, he said Supercharger version 3, which starts rolling out early next year, will also charge much faster. Mm-hmm. So that's what's so cool here, is that we've already seen this year at Thanksgiving that the Supercharger network is up to snuff, but he's not resting there. He's going to double it by next year.
Right. And they're getting to the point where, you know, most of the time they're at less than 20% usage, which means that there's always capacity. And when you have high capacity days like Thanksgiving, you know, it's only going to get better next year.
That's exactly. So we all know that the federal tax credit is disappearing for companies like Tesla and GM, and there are bills in Congress to change this and extend it. But big oil doesn't want that EV credit. The American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers put out a statement that says, "We encourage the House and Senate to build on tax reform and not take a step backward by expanding the EV tax credit this Congress. Even if the new policy has a phase-out year, once it is included as part of tax extenders, it is very likely to be renewed year by year." The American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers are basically companies like Shell, ExxonMobil, BP, and virtually every petroleum company operating in the U.S.
Right. I just want to point out that we have the EV credit because of the American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturing.
Right.
Because if this didn't exist, if there weren't these very highly polluting sources of energy, and we were just all running on solar, and we already had EV cars, we wouldn't need this credit. There wouldn't be this credit. Or, if you want to look at it a different way, if we weren't highly subsidizing the oil industry, we subsidize the oil industry up to $5 trillion every year, $5 trillion with a T every year, EVs would make a heck of a lot more sense. Gas would be way more expensive.
Right. We'd be on a level playing field.
So for the American fuel and petrochemical manufacturers to come out and say, it's ridiculous that these EVs are getting a tax incentive, it's pretty ridiculous that they get a tax incentive. You know, if this were on a level playing field, it would be pretty level. And a lot of people would switch over to EVs because it would cost about the same. Actually, it would cost less when we talk about maintenance, and you'd be less polluting.
They kept going on, and they said, in summary, it is unwise public policy to subsidize a highly inefficient means of greenhouse gas reduction that primarily benefits the wealthy, driving up the deficit or forcing taxpayers to make up the difference. I just want to say, shut up. Right. Because you guys are already being subsidized billions and billions of dollars.
Right.
You're the one running up the tax bills.
And the health cost really affects the least wealthy.
Right.
The worst pollution in this country and in the world is in the least wealthy places. Because if you're wealthy, you pick up your things and you, I'm leaving. And you go to somewhere where there is less pollution.
And here's the thing. They say that this is a tax cut for rich people. You can buy a Leaf. Okay, you don't have to buy a high-end Tesla.
Exactly.
You can buy a Bolt. You can buy many electric cars, which brings the price point way down into the affordable range.
Right.
And as electric cars get cheaper, that'll mean more and more people can afford it.
And if they were able to continue the credit out to Tesla longer,
right,
the base Model 3, that would bring the price down to $25,000,
right,
which is a average-priced sedan, brand new, granted, but that's a great price for lots of families to get into the safest vehicle in the world.
So I recently went out and checked out a new startup company called Freshbox Farms, and here's what I saw.
I'm Lydia Conley, and welcome to Freshbox Farms. So we use all LEDs, and that's really what made this industry possible, is the LED technology kind of coming along and making it affordable. And so as you can see, we have a couple of different types in here. We will try anything, and the plants kind of tell us what they like.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And how many plants are in here roughly right now? Do you have
About 3,000.
3,000?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Question, sun goes down at night. Do plants like to sleep?
Plants do need to sleep a little bit. We could keep the lights on 24 hours a day, and that might make them grow really fast, but we've seen with too much light, you can have aberrations.
lettuce from, say, California, what was its route to get to me here on the East Coast?
It's been on the back of a truck for about 2 weeks before it actually gets to your grocery store and you're able to purchase it.
Wow. And so that's why my lettuce goes bad. Like, I'll buy lettuce and literally the next day it's just wilted and starting to go bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, how could that be? This is fresh lettuce.
Yeah.
But it's not fresh.
It's not.
You guys harvest this, and how long does it take to get from cutting it to into the store generally? 24
hours. So they were harvesting some this morning. They're packing it right now. It will go out to our distributor tonight and be on store shelves tomorrow morning.
Thank you for joining us on that tour of Freshbox Farms. Wasn't that cool? I'm gonna take this home right now and make a salad. See ya.
Isn't that cool? Vertically integrated farms are going to be the thing coming up because they're so efficient. I mean, they use 99% less water.
Right. And you can put solar panels on the roof and bada bing, bada boom.
You can grow food anywhere.
Right.
If you want to check out that video, it just came out last week. Go check out here. You get more extended interviews. So remember last week when we reported that the economics minister, Peter Altmaier, wants to fund €1 billion for Germany to build EVs. Well, he's not stopping his push. In fact, he sat down with the CEOs of Daimler, Dieter Zisch, and VW's Herbert Diess, and he said German cars have always been sexy. BMW, Mercedes, and even the VW Beetle in the 60s. I really wonder when you, Mr. Zisch, or you, Mr. Diess, or Mr. Kruger of BMW will be able to build an electric car that is only half as sexy as Tesla. As far as the appeal of their e-cars is concerned, you could actually bring in some fresh ideas. And then there was an awkward silence. They were not expecting to be called out on that. And after a moment or so, Diess replied after the awkward silence, "But we are determined to catch up. The game is not lost yet."
This is a German economics minister basically being like, guys, what are you doing? And again, BMW and all the German car manufacturers are way behind Tesla in terms of the technology, in terms of batteries. Let's talk about this story.
Okay.
So UBS analyst Colin Langan recently came out with this statement. He said, contrary to our team's previous views, they now believe incumbent OEMs, which means original equipment manufacturers, will be less profitable than Tesla in EV space. Tesla's cost advantage can be defended, at least temporarily, because other OEMs will not switch to cheaper NCA chemistry. We continue to believe that Tesla remains ahead of the pack when it comes to EV tech.
Now, what's NCA again?
That means nickel, cobalt, aluminum. So that is the battery chemistry of the Tesla batteries. Again, they use the 2170s, whereas other car manufacturers use much larger prismatic cells.
So this analyst, Colin Langham, didn't he just raise his Tesla stock target from $190 a share to $230 a share?
Yeah. See, he raised it because of this.
But shouldn't we look at the stock chart for Tesla? I don't remember the last time that Tesla was at even $230 a share.
Right. Yeah. So he still rates it as a sell at $230. But as we can see from this yearly stock chart, Tesla has not been at $230 all year.
Well, in fact, it hasn't been at that price since January of 2017.
Right. And he still has a sell rating, even though he figured out that Tesla makes the cheapest battery pack of any other EV manufacturer.
Yeah, he said the Tesla batteries are currently $111 per kilowatt hour, which is around $37 per kilowatt hour cheaper than the cheapest competitor, which is LG Chem.
Right.
So wait a minute. So he's saying that basically Tesla has a huge advantage, and yet he's got a sell rating on the stock?
Right. And this is why Tesla is going to be able to sell their base Model 3 for such a great price. Again, this is a car that's going to be able to go 215 miles, going to be able to supercharge. It has great acceleration. It's going to be the safest car in the world. It's going to be one of the cheaper EVs. I mean, obviously there's the Leaf and stuff, but for the range, for the safety, and for the supercharging, it's basically the cheapest car out there. They can do that because they have such great profit margins on their batteries.
Clueless analysts.
Right. I mean, that should be a wake-up call. You should be going, wow-wee, holy moly, geez, beweezy, holy crunkalobditis. That is a buy rating right there, folks. It's just backpedaling to say like, oh, it's instead of 190, which is half the share price right now, 230, which is $100 less sale price. I mean, you are boneheaded if you think it's 230.
Clueless.
Especially after you uncover something like
Right.
that. That is the moment where you can say, aha, I didn't realize before,
Well,
but now
it's not
I
like
know.
he uncovered it. We all knew it. We've been reporting it for a long time.
Right.
We're not even,
That's true.
UBS analysts, and we knew
Right.
that. It's just he realized it. He maybe came across one of our shows.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go on to The Boring Company.
Right. So let's just talk about the Boring Company for a second. It was started because Elon wanted to get past traffic. He wanted to go
Elon
under.
was in traffic one day in LA, and he was like, there's got to be a better way.
Right, and I'm always thinking when I'm stuck in traffic, helicopter. He thought underground tunnels.
Yeah. During the recent National League of Cities 2018 summit in LA on November 8th, that's where 3,800 mayors and city officials gathered in LA.
Wow, was the Justice League there? The Avengers?
It seems like it.
It's exciting.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti had a fireside chat with Elon, and they discussed tunnels. And Elon said the Boring Company is also going to do tunneling for like water, transport, sewage, electrical. We're not going to turn our noses up at sewage tunnels. We're happy to do that too. So Mr. Garcetti was like, Elon, could you build us sewer tunnels? And Elon said,
Yes. Now this is really, really interesting because Elon first went into Boring Company thinking car transport for people, but you very quickly realize tunnels are used for everything from sewage to electrical to stuff like that. They are working on revolutionizing tunnels, making the cheapest tunnel per mile possible.
Right.
And faster than all other tunnel makers currently.
do you realize he came into a space that
Right.
he didn't even know existed till he basically started it one day. And all these companies that have been doing it for decades haven't even kept up with this new upstart who's just like, I'm going to go back to first principles and figure out how to do it better and cheaper and faster.
Right. And this is where when people are like, oh, Hyperloop is impossible because I watched this guy on the internet, he said it was impossible. This is where that kind of breaks down because it's like, okay, fine, forget Hyperloop for a second, even though it is possible. Let's just look at tunnels because tunnels are extremely useful. Even if we're just driving our cars through the tunnels or we put them on electric skates that zip along underneath the earth, that's still way, way better. And if you're revolutionizing that technology, you're making it cheaper for people to build sewer tunnels underneath cities. That's a huge, huge market, and that's going to make the world a better place.
How about this? State documents show that Elon started the Brick Store LLC in July. The company is run by Steve Davis, a former SpaceX engineer who also runs the Boring Company. The documents filed in October show plans to open a physical store here at 12,003 Prairie Avenue, which is just a mile from SpaceX and the Boring Company headquarters. Now, Elon hinted in previous tweets that bricks will sell for 10 cents each and are able to handle California seismic loads. Also, I don't know if you're looking at Christmas presents for me, but this Watchtower kit is now available.
Right. I think that it's kind of interesting that Elon, is this going to be a brick and mortar store? I mean, I guess it doesn't make much sense to ship them on the internet or like...
I don't know.
I mean, it's going to be cool as more tunnels start being dug. Bricks can be made locally, and that way you don't have to ship them as far.
Exactly.
So, I mean, hopefully we get one on the East Coast.
I mean,
we can get some East Coast bricks.
He already said that they're going to deliver these bricks for free to low-income housing projects. So, I mean, that's amazing.
Right. I mean, talk about taking what is once a waste stream, dirt from a tunnel, and turning it into building material. I mean, of course, anyone who plays Minecraft knows that that's not a brilliant idea. You know, it's not some new idea, but actually being able to do it in the real world where you can't just, boop, you know, that's pretty cool.
Right. So, Jesse, what were you doing on Black Friday?
I was staying at home to avoid the crowds and, doing some online shopping. And
Were you reading the 4th National Climate Assessment?
No, because it was the day after Thanksgiving, and I was kind of like...
No, that's the day you should be reading the federal reports that come out.
No, because everyone else is not doing that. Everyone else is, ripping people apart to get, low-priced television sets.
The federal government thought it'd be a great day to release the federal report on climate effects to the U.S.
How about just any other day? How about any day that's not a holiday or a quasi-crazy holiday?
Apparently, they thought this would be the best day to get it out to as many people as possible to let them know that new climate reports say that 90% of the current warming is caused by humans. Without greenhouse gases, natural forces such as changes in energy from the sun would be slightly cooling the Earth. The lower 48 states have warmed 1.8 degrees or 1 degree Celsius since 1900, with 1.2 degrees in the last few decades, according to the report. By the end of the century, the U.S. will be 3 to 12 degrees, that's 1.6 to 6.6 degrees Celsius, hotter, depending on how much greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere.
So this is a federal report.
11 agencies released this report. This is science. And
Released by the actual United States government.
Yep. But the White House got to determine when it came out, and they decided, let's try and keep this as quiet as possible and release it on a day when most people are busy thinking about other things.
Okay, so we are going to put a link down below to this climate assessment so that you can read it for yourself and you can share it with as many people as you know. Just share this and force people to read it.
Right.
I don't care how you force them to read it. Maybe not at gunpoint, but force them to read this. This is real science done by the government, approved by the government.
So let's check out this company, Jesse. It's a Chinese company called Leap Motor, and I hadn't heard of it before. They're coming out with the SO1, which is a 2+2 coupe. What does that mean?
So you have the 2 regular seats in the front and then like a little tiny seat in the back.
So Leap is building a factory in 2019 and planning on building up to 200,000 cars a year with a starting price of $29,000. Now that's before incentives.
Right. Now this is going to be sold just in China.
Yep.
The incentives, they could slice the price in half.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
What are the stats on this car?
So apparently it's going to have autopilot.
Ooh.
It's going to have a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. That's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 6.9 seconds. So not respectable, not that bad. It has a 125 kilowatt motor. It is front wheel drive.
Great aerodynamics.
Yes, 0.29 coefficient of aerodynamic friction. It has either a 360 or 460 kilometer range, so you can get different battery pack sizes. It has charging on both sides. I don't know if you can double charge it.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. I don't know if you can do that. It has a 10-inch touchscreen, and this company just got a $290 million round in their A funding.
Oh, so they're not even an IPO yet. Like, we can't invest in them yet.
Right. This is a small
But we should
startup.
keep our eyes on them because they're following the Tesla Neo plan, which I think is a great way to run a company.
Right. I think that we're going to see a lot of Chinese startups coming out of China with a lot of money backing them because a lot of Chinese investors know that this is a great way forward.
Yeah. All right, it's time for the lightning round.
Here we go.
All right, so the Model 3 won the e-Cannonball. Our friend Stefan Moeller from Next Move and the guys from the Clean Electric podcast have won the first e-Cannonball in a Model 3. They went 837 kilometers, and it took them 8.5 hours, and they beat the second place car by 26 minutes.
837 kilometers. This isn't a United States cannonball.
Oh, no, this is in Europe.
Okay. So this is not coast to coast.
No. But we are going to talk about in our Patreon bonus story a even bigger record was just beat. So you'll have to check that out. All right, so the Model 3 supposedly is getting a cold weather update. What did Tesla say about this?
So Tesla wrote in the release notes, window position and charge connector locking behaviors have been optimized for cold weather. So we haven't gotten a good look at this yet, so we can report on it a little bit further later on. Just wanted to let you guys know.
Something's coming.
Yes.
Winter is coming. So Clean Technica reports that Smart Charge New York adds the Model 3 to its list of supported cars on its off-peak charging program. So you install this Fleet Karma dongle on your OBD2 port, and then you start earning rewards up to $500 a year for charging your car during off-peak hours, either at home or even at superchargers within your company's service area. So what's an OBD2 port again?
So this is the thing that, when your check engine light turns on, this is what they plug into to see what's wrong with your car.
Oh, I see. So by plugging this dongle in there, they can track your usage.
Right. So like I have an OBD2 dongle that uses Bluetooth, connects to my phone with the Leaf Spy app, which is a great app for you Leaf owners out there. I don't think that there is an OBD2 port on the Model 3. No one has been able to find one yet.
Okay, but
So
I feel like it's there somewhere and we just don't know about it.
Maybe.
Anyway, so if you live in that area, also if you live in parts of Canada, Florida, and Nashville, you can also join this program so that you can earn money, rewards, for charging off-peak. So I want to share with you this liter bottle solar light. It's pretty cool. This started during Typhoon Haiyan in 2014. This was the worst climate disaster to hit the Philippines. The storm surge knocked out power plants. Over 1 million people didn't have electricity for over 8 months. So using local electronic parts, they were able to build thousands of these converted kerosene solar lamps, which are mobile charging systems. They can also turn them into streetlights to create a safe environment in disaster-affected areas. They then taught hundreds of youth groups and women to build simple solar solutions by hand, lighting up to 7,800 temporary shelters in under 5 months. They've been able to light 1 million lives in almost 20 countries in 4 years. I just think this is incredible. It's very low tech, solar cell, and a liter soda bottle, and then you've got light all night long.
Right. I think this is kind of interesting. A lot of people like to point out that, like, oh, you think that fossil fuels are bad? Well, the whole world would just be a bunch of impoverished nations without fossil fuels. And that's true. I mean, the world wouldn't look the same way without fossil fuels, but it came with a lot of consequences, as we constantly talk about.
Yeah, I mean, for these houses to light themselves at night would have to bring kerosene and other horrible gases into their houses at night, killing them basically.
And they had to pay the money, and that money went to somewhere, and that money made somebody rich.
Right.
So therefore, this is demonstrably more sustainable. You're able to have people with the electronics that are already within a region basically repurpose them, turn them into solar lighting after a disaster.
And it creates an economy. By teaching people how to make these things and then sell them, they actually can make a living for themselves.
Right.
So you remember this, Jesse. A few months ago, we shared the Swedish company Enride's electric autonomous log truck. Now Enride is teaming up with DB Schenker in the Swedish town of Jönköping to pilot the T-Pod, which is an autonomous electric truck which drives independently to and from warehouses. Soon it's going to get approval to drive on public roads in Sweden. So if you live in Sweden, if you're one of our Swedish viewers, please be on the lookout for this and send us some video.
FedEx announced last week that they are acquiring 1,000 fully electric delivery trucks to be used in their fleet throughout California.
Yeah.
They have 150 miles of range and will save 2,000 gallons of gas and 20 tons of emissions per vehicle per year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They have a 6,000-pound max cargo capacity. They are made by FDG in Hangzhou, China, and purchased through Change Energy.
Oh, so Change Energy is a Chinese company, and so these are going to be made in China.
Definitely good to test it out, test the water, see what you think, and then buy more. Please buy more.
So season 2 of Mars on National Geographic Channel premiered, and its first episode is entirely about SpaceX. It really had nothing to do with the Mars show. It was just trying to teach you about SpaceX, which I thought was really cool because it showed some really cute footage of Elon explaining rocket science to his sons. So I really urge you to check it out. And here's a cool photo of Elon and his 5 sons in front of the Falcon 9 rocket that just landed.
Just landed? That seems... Don't do that again, Elon. Not with all of your sons. Just like... It's still a rocket.
What, you're afraid it's going to tip over?
Or blow up? I mean, it's a rocket.
It's empty.
It's not all empty.
So get this. According to the latest International Energy Agency, IEA's World Energy Outlook that came out last week, electric buses are so plentiful that they will displace about 233,000 barrels of oil per day by the end of this year.
Wow.
Now, you add that to the 46,000 barrels that electric cars displace, and you have about as much oil as the country of Greece uses every day.
It's also interesting to note that IEA is notoriously wrong about its outlook on renewables, and this year is no exception. Now, by wrong, I mean behind. They are underreporting these numbers. Bloomberg NEF expects twice as many electric vehicles on the road as the IEA does. So this means that we're looking at something even better than this.
Right.
And again, these e-buses are making such a huge difference, and most of them are in China.
And let's remember that, as Bloomberg has said, if we get to the point of about displacing about 1 million barrels of oil a day, we will probably create a huge disruption in oil and cause it to drop. So we're already about a quarter of the way there or more. Want to work for Tesla, Jesse?
Yeah, maybe.
Want to live in China?
No, I'm happy here.
Well, Gigafactory 3 is now expanding its hiring effort. They're looking for about 50 new job openings in Shanghai, including roles like lead mechanical design engineer, building infrastructure, manufacturing operations manager, and several supply chain managers.
Right, so this is just the beginning of hiring for the Gigafactory 3, which is not even built yet.
Yeah. All right, it's time for our video contributor story. What do we got this week, Jess?
We have Remanette spotting the only Model X in the Philippines.
What?
Hello, Sak and Jesse. This is Ram reporting from the Philippines. and I'm driving from the west side of Manila, and this is a rare opportunity to drive along with the Model X. This is probably one and only Model X in the country. For the information of everyone, we don't have supercharging here in Manila. The cost of electricity is 19 cents per kilowatt hour. The cost of a Tesla is 65% higher when imported to the Philippines. And the sad thing is, we can't register an EV due to lack of governing rules. So basically, it's illegal to drive one. Hope the Philippine government will catch up to a more sustainable transport. That's it from me from the Philippines. Now you know.
You can't register an EV in the Philippines because from what I've heard, you need to have an engine number to fill out on some form, and they don't have those, so you can't have an EV.
I haven't heard about this anywhere else.
Yeah, this is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. I think that if you own this Model X, there's no way that the Philippine police are going to catch you. So
Well,
that's probably why he's driving it willy-nilly out on the roads.
Wow.
Cool Tesla license plate, too.
Yeah. And thank you.
When you don't have to follow the laws.
Make
you
any
can just
license
do
plate you
whatever,
want.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Well, thank you, Reminette, for that story.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for the Patreon bonus stories. We're going to head over there now. For as little as $1 a month, you can come with us. And we really would appreciate it if you did. So we'll see you in a minute. All right, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories. It's time for our shout-outs, Jesse. What have we got?
This week we have Stephen Fell,
Christopher Scarf,
Jim Falbo,
Dirk and Bert Fliegen,
Peter S. Erickson,
Joachim Ness,
Vittorio Tamburini,
Henrik Hargard Steen,
Brandon Beretta Paris,
Richard Molby,
Sean T. Erickson,
Michael Wangle,
Patrick Christensen,
Derek Sekarek,
and Gray Golka.
Thank you, everybody.
You guys rock. They help support the show. They make this show possible. Couldn't be done without them.
You know who else it couldn't be done without?
Who?
Elon. It's time for Tweets of the Week. All right, we've got this one. Universal Sigh said, SpaceX is going to build a mini BFR to launch on a Falcon 9. Elon said.
No, we're just going to accelerate BFR.
In fact, he said, renaming BFR to Starship. Technically, two parts. Starship is the spaceship upper stage, and Super Heavy is the rocket booster needed to escape Earth's deep gravity well, not needed for other planets or moons.
Cool. That sounds like two cool songs on an album.
Yeah.
Super Heavy and Starship.
And his next tweet was, if you don't want a Tesla, here's a list of all electric cars in North America. So let's look at this list.
Okay. What CEO goes, if you don't want to buy my product, here's a list of alternatives? Who does that?
I know.
You know who does that? Really, really confident CEOs.
Yes.
Because look at this list.
First of all, it's not as long as it looks.
Not as long as you think it would be.
Right.
Because, again, fully electrics are few and far between, I would say.
Most are hybrids.
And some are very hard to actually get a hold of.
Right.
And
then let's talk about range.
And then the end of the list is just Model X, Model S, Model 3. Boom, boom, boom.
Drop the mic.
I mean, it's a drop the mic moment. The 3 safest cars are on that list.
Yeah.
And they're all from Tesla.
All right, it's time for community mail time.
Community mail time.
All right, so since June, the official Tesla owners group in the UK have been buying and donating their referral radio flyer mini Teslas for children's wards, hospitals, and hospices. So we've got Will Feely, who's the president of the Tesla owners group in the UK, to tell us more about it.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. I'm with Will Feely of Tesla Owners Group UK. We're doing something pretty special with the Tesla Owners Group. So, Will, would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, so we reached out to Elon on Twitter and said, could we have a bit of help with getting some radio flyers sent over to the UK, and we managed to get a good bit of a discount on them, and this is just a few of the ones that have been going out today. So we've had a total of 117 little toy radio flyer cars sent over. We all raise money in the UK. Our owners are going to go to children's hospices and hospitals across the UK. Really good, and lots of smiles on their faces.
Brilliant, that's great stuff. Now you know.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I mean, super nice. Like, I
really
love being
nice.
part of the Tesla community because Tesla owners are out there doing wonderful things for people.
Right.
This is our friend Jim and Liz in their new Model 3 in Iowa. Remember, we've been talking about what's going on in Brazil with the indigenous peoples being threatened by the president. Well, you can do something about it. Our friend Lewis forwarded a petition that we can all sign to help stop President Bolsonaro from selling off the Amazon rainforest and displacing indigenous people. It had 70,000 signatures when I signed it last week, and hopefully it's got a lot more after you guys sign it.
Again, down below, click the show more and check out all the different links down there.
Let's see if our friend Ivy can explain solar batteries to you, Jesse.
Okay.
Hey everyone, you're with Tesla Tom.
And I on Ivy.
Thank you for joining us on Ludicrous Feed today. Now, Ivy, you had a homework task the other day. Do you want to read it out to us, please?
Maybe you could save power at your home to help our environment and have fun playing a board game with your family or have dinner with candles.
And let's have a look at what you wrote in your homework book.
We save power by... We have solar power on our roof. This turns sunlight into electricity. The electricity goes into a big battery in our garage. At night, we save power because it comes from the battery, which came from the sun.
Thank you, Ivy. And Ivy, how old are you?
6.
You're 6 years old and you wrote that. That makes sense to you, right?
Yeah.
So the sun shines on the solar panels, and then the solar panels convert electricity into the battery,
Yeah.
and then we use the battery at night time to power our house.
Yeah.
Makes sense? Yep. And if you're 6 years old, that means people older than you should be able to understand how it works as well. All right, well, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And thank you, Ivy, for sharing that bit of homework with us. Hopefully it's a lovely day wherever you are in this world. And as always,
Happy charging. And if you didn't know that that's how we save power, then now you know.
thanks, Ivy. Now you know.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
She's 6 and she totally gets it.
Kids get it. It's not very complicated.
No. And her father here, Tom from Ludicrous Feed, which is an awesome YouTube channel, he's driving his Model S on December 9th in the Special Olympics. Tell us a little bit more about it, Tom.
On the 9th of December this year, Electric Blue and I will be driving for Team Tesla in the Saw and Raw event organised by Special Olympics Australia. We'll be giving somebody with an intellectual disability a ride of a lifetime, doing a lap of the Sydney Motorsport Park in Eastern Creek in Sydney. So if you're around in Sydney during the 9th of December, please feel free to come down and say hello. The Special Olympics Australia, they look after people with intellectual disability, giving them a purpose and value in life and organising sporting events for them. I don't like asking for money, but I feel this is worth doing. And if you feel inclined to give, I'm going to leave a link to my fundraising page at the Saw and Raw event. Please give anything you can to this very worthy event. But more importantly, Team Tesla is coming 8th on the leaderboard. Now, we can't let clubs like the Porsche Club and the Mustang Club beat us, right? I'm not competitive. Now, who am I kidding? I'm competitive. We want Tesla to win. We want Tesla to be the most generous car club in Australia for this event. And more importantly, the winning club gets to do a hot lap of honour around Eastern Creek, Sydney Motorsport Park with the intellectually disabled athletes in our cars. What a thrill that would be for them, right? To be part of a winning club. So guys, even if you're not from Australia, you can still give money to this very worthy cause. Go to the description below. I'll leave a link to my fundraising page for this very worthy event. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for supporting Ludicrous Feed, and thanking you in advance for supporting the Saw and Raw event organised by Special Olympics Australia. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world, and as always, happy charging.
Yeah, so we've got to beat Lamborghini, Corvette, and Mustang. Let's go help him, because that's a great thing that he's doing. Again, a Tesla community out there doing wonderful things.
This is our friend Peter up in British Columbia. And
wait, what's all over his car?
R2-T3.
Oh, wow.
So, new droid from the next Star Wars movie. We got exclusive look. I'm just kidding. This is his Model 3 in a pretty sweet wrap.
And it's Mr. G to the rescue. Take it away, Mr. G.
Hey, check it out. Zach and Jesse, we are charging a Model X. He came with us with 3 miles. Now he has 4 miles. We're charging him at 22 miles an hour. And 10 hours left in the charge. He's gonna stay here for a while. This is Malcolm He found us on the PlugShare app.
Yes, sir, and you guys saved my life. There's no supercharge station in the Edgewater area.
Right.
This is the first 50 amp station that's this convenient and free and this innovative. What he's doing for the kids is genius.
Thank you. All right, Zach and Jesse, I just want to show you guys what we did. He found us on the app, called me this morning. I said, yep, come on in. And he showed up.
Last minute, 2 minutes,
Yeah.
he responded. It was
This happened
great.
fast.
Like, literally, like, blink of an eye, 3 miles, supercharge station, exhausted all resources. This guy is amazing. Thank you, Jack. Was it Jack and Jesse?
Zach and Jesse,
Thank
they
you,
do
Zach and
from the
Jesse.
Now You Know channel.
We're going to subscribe.
See you later.
Thank you, Jack. This is like dope.
He was down to 3 miles, and if it weren't for Mr. G's refurbished Tesla charger, that guy might have been in some trouble.
In some trouble, yes.
Thank you. Another Tesla community win.
And I just want to say, Mr. G, how awesome is it that you're able to get cool Model X's to show up at your school for your students to go look at?
Yeah.
It's like,
You've just
hey,
inspired-
kids, do you want to like build these cars? Do you want to own these cars? Look
Yeah.
at what the world can be.
Yeah, you just showed them that by doing that, you're going to do exactly what you said, which is attract Tesla owners to you, and that they came.
Thank you for doing that. You've turned a piece of what was junk into inspiration, because failure is a chance to learn.
Our friend David was able to sit in a Model 3 after waiting in line for an hour and a half. He said, "We are promised from Tesla that by the end of the year, they will install another 4 superchargers, and next year they will open the official Tesla store here in Poland. The revolution in Poland has started."
Right. So this is in Warsaw, Poland.
And I mean, look at that Model 3. It's so cool. They actually tore off pieces of it so you could see the inner workings.
That's wicked cool.
I think they should do that everywhere. You know, Jesse, we've been kind of showing all of our young viewers. We had a young viewer last week that was, pretty young.
Right.
Well,
this is, by in a way, the youngest viewer at the moment.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, it's Sean Mitchell, Rosa Mitchell, Jackson Mitchell, and our new addition, Benjamin Seamus Mitchell. He was born today, November 19th, and he is watching the new Tesla Time News. So I'd like to say he's the youngest viewer you have. Feel free to post this on your next video. That would be awesome. We love you guys, and now you know.
This is Benjamin.
Yep, he was born on November 19th, and he's the newest addition to the Mitchell family. So happy birthday, Benjamin. Congratulations to you guys and the Mitchell family.
Yes.
So we have a Patreon viewer poll this week. We said, do you think the U.S. EV federal tax credit extension proposals will get squashed by the lame duck Republicans?
Now, wait a minute. What? You're calling them lame ducks now? That's not
I know a lot of
cool.
our European viewers are like, you shouldn't do that. Lame duck is just a widely used term. It means any politician that has already been unelected, basically, because their term is going to expire. So we just had an election here in the U.S. in November. A lot of these Republicans are leaving in January, and yet they're still there. So they can still pass laws, even though they're lame ducks. Anyway, the poll showed that 124 of you said yes, you think that the EV tax credit will get squashed, they will not be extended, and only 45 of you said no. So if you guys are right, it looks like we're in a little bit of trouble.
But hey, call them.
That's
I mean,
right.
they're not going to get reelected, but maybe you can just yell at them.
That's right. All right, we got a Patreon question this week. For a while now, I've had a theory about the second generation Roadster. I predict deliveries will commence next year, not in 2020. I believe Tesla and Elon have been sandbagging, and that the second generation Roadster is at a more advanced stage of development than we've been led to believe, and here's why. First, when Tesla showcased their second generation Roadster a full 12 months ago, it wasn't just some mock-up or early stage prototype, but a fully functional car that they were able to demonstrate, and I mean with members of the invited public on board. I was one of them. This thing was no empty shell, and it blew everyone's mind. Second, in the intervening 12 months, even while resources have been spread thin by multiple simultaneous design projects and on ramping Model 3, they are bound to have made a ton of progress on the concept. Third, it is going to be a low-volume product, so the overall resources footprint is going to be relatively small. They can afford to start production at a low rate. Fourth, I don't buy that Tesla would show their hand 2 to 3 years before delivering the product, providing established players in the hypercar sector all that time to hone their future offerings to better compete. We've seen direct reactions from several companies, including Lamborghini and Koenigsegg. So, my hunch is that Tesla's intention all along has been to beat the officially announced timeline and to catch competitors off guard. Again. Am I just thinking wishfully?
This is a very well thought out question. I have to agree with a lot of what he's saying. Does it make sense that they're going to give this 2 to 3 year lead? on like, here's what we have, and we're not going to release it for 2 or 3 years. I mean, because you did go on a test ride in the next generation Roadster, and it was amazing, from what I gather.
It was. But here's what I think. I think that building this concept car for them was different than most companies. They could throw in some Model 3 motors, Model 3 battery pack, and they basically created a supercar out of it, just like they did with the Semi. The Semi is basically a bunch of Model 3s.
Right.
No other company can do that.
Here's what I think. I think that it will come out in 2020. But what I'm thinking is that the specs are going to be way better than what they had talked about. I think that, we've seen cars that can do better 0 to 60 times than, 1.9 seconds. I think that it's going to be a slight hair better than 1.9. Because, again, with the Model 3 performance, they said that it was going to be 3.5 and it ended up being 3.3.
And don't forget, we're going to have the SpaceX option package with thrusters.
Right.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I don't think they're going to go a year earlier. I don't think there's any need to. I do hear what you're saying about having companies like Lamborghini and Koenigsegg, beat them to the punch. But again, I don't think that matters.
And in the end, it doesn't matter because of one thing, and that is price. Yes, the next generation Roadster is going to be $250,000, and that is a lot of money. But when you're looking at hypercars, it's actually
cheap.
Like 75% off cheap.
Right.
Like most Koenigsegg cars cost well over $1 million.
It's a new market, basically. No one ever thought they could afford a hypercar before unless they were a multi-millionaire. But now some lower millionaires will be able to get in on it.
Every rapper is going to have this car. Every celebrity worth their salt. It's going to really change the way we look at things. And here's what I'm thinking. They're going to release it a little bit later because what this is going to do is it's going to be a demand boost. Not only is this going to be a huge moneymaker, because they're probably going to be selling it for a pretty decent profit margin. Obviously, they could quadruple it if they felt like it because they'd still be competitive. But it's going to raise their brand again. Yeah. A lot of people have been hearing about it, but you have to be in the know.
Right.
As soon as these cars start making it onto the streets and there's videos of just like,
yep,
you're just like, holy crap! That video makes it onto a local
and
news.
And seeing it in person, it's beautiful on film, but seeing it in person
it's drop dead gorgeous. Once they actually see it, it's going to be a huge booster for the Model 3 sales, as well as Model S and X, because people are going to aspire to this car, and buying the same brand is the same thing as buying like a lower optioned version of a Porsche or something like that.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews. What do we got?
Hi, Zach and Jesse. It's Perry again. We're at Charlotte, North Carolina with the, about 8 stalls for the Supercharger. It's about 2 miles off the interstate. 2 sub places, a pizza joint, and a grocery store. Going to give this one a 8 out of 10.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. We're charging the Tesla here in Texarkana, Texas, which is right off of the interstate, 30 here. Great location. It has 8 stalls. And also, you can come here and there's an Olive Garden right here. It's right here in front of the Olive Garden where you can charge. As well, to the side, there's an Outback. And even over here in the corner, a couple of more steps, you can even go to Central Mall. Great location. I would give it, just because of all the restaurants near and by, and you're right off of a major intersection going to Arkansas. So you can go to Little Rock on this 30 straight. It's a straight shot. So into Dallas. So great location. I would give it an 8. Now you know.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. This is Alexander speaking from Croatia. Now in the Netherlands, in the place called Hoorn, situated some 35 kilometers on the north from Amsterdam, very close, 200 meters from the freeway A7. We have here 12 charging spots in front of the hotel in the Hoorn, and we have a restaurant and casino nearby, maybe just 100 meters away from here. We have a couple of Teslas being charged at the moment, and some non-Teslas being iced here. This is all for now. Hope to see you maybe soon in future, and until then, now you know.
Best part of my week.
Absolutely.
Love it. Thank you guys.
I love it. You do it all in landscape. Very important. We have this whole show in
They don't
landscape.
always do it in landscape, but even when they don't, it's still good.
Wow, I didn't realize that my arm length
you can fit.
is just, no, I can't.
All right, it's time for new Superchargers. What do we got this week? We got a lot.
We have a 10 stall in Shanghai at the Space Tech Industry Park in China. That's a cool, I want to go there. That sounds neat.
We got the 8 stall in Tianjin at the Rongchuang Center in China.
Number 234 in China is the 6 stall Khufu Shangri-La Hotel in China.
We've got the 8 stall in St. Joseph, Missouri.
Number 427 in Europe is the 20 stall in Bad Hovendorp, Netherlands.
And number 580 in the USA and number 1389 in the world is the 20 stall in Livermore, California. All right, Be Free is up to 82, Jesse. This week we've got free Tesla transfer for Elon employees visiting Dublin, Ireland in electric drivers. It's free airport pickup, drop-off, and transfer to your destination. Thanks, Tesla. Thanks, Tesla employees. It's Ireland's only Tesla premium taxi chauffeur driver service.
Right. So, I mean, if you're flying to Dublin, if you're installing a supercharger there, if you're overseeing something, or if you're just going on vacation and you are an Elon employee, again, this is not just Tesla employees.
Nope.
We're talking about Boring Company, SpaceX,
the new brick store.
Yeah. If you're a brick store,
you delivering some bricks?
Do you think it's going to look as nice as an Apple store?
Put them in the back of
Anyway, if you're working for any of Elon's companies, you can take advantage of it. If you know any Elon employees, tell them about Be Free because there's lots of different deals for them to go.
82 deals.
Right. And hey, maybe they're going to get something and get it for you as a
We're
Christmas
almost at
gift.
100. Thank you, guys. Keep working hard. Get those deals into Be Free. All right, Jesse, it's time for the Patreon giveaway of the week.
It's the Patreon giveaway.
This week is sponsored by SFSF. These amazing T-shirt designs. We're wearing 2 of them this week. Oh, Jesse's... What are you doing, Jesse?
This week.
We going vertical?
Yeah.
Wow, we're going vertical.
Oh, you know what? This doesn't...
No, it does nothing.
Doesn't do anything.
I mean, it's still... Okay. All right, who's our winner this week, Jesse?
We've got Pascal Gunther.
Nice. Congratulations, Pascal. You are going to be able to choose an SFSF T-shirt, sweatshirt, or mug. So head on over there. And if you want to support us, go head on over there and pick out something you like. And we get money from it. So it's a big win-win for everybody. As you can see, floating by here are these amazing names of people. They're the people that support the show. You can join them on the list for $5 or more a month. You can become a Patreon and get a shout out and get your name on the end credits at the end of every episode. So we urge you to do that. Plus, you get to see all of our amazing bonus Patreon stories.
Right.
There's tons of perks. So head over to Patreon, check that out.
And if you don't want to become a Patreon,
Why
or
would
if
you
you
not wanna
are
do
a Patreon, it doesn't matter. If you're
Okay.
doing your holiday shopping, which most of you are doing, today is Cyber Monday after all.
Oh.
Use our Amazon affiliate link down below. It would mean a lot to us because just about 1 to 2 to 3% of your sale, instead of going directly to
more
Jeff
sometimes.
Bezos' bank account, is going to us. We're able to buy better equipment for the show. We're able to actually travel. We're able to see places, do things, meet people, learn about the world, tell you all about it, film it on very nice camera equipment so that way you can enjoy it and sit back and relax and it's not all shaky and crazy. So hope you,
I mean,
use
because
that.
this show takes dozens of hours of editing time by our amazing team.
Right.
And if
they have to do it in like a couple hours.
Yeah, I mean,
They do all
they come
that.
in early.
Yeah. They have to come in early Monday morning.
Yep.
Every Monday.
They look forward to it.
You look forward to Monday.
I don't know if they
do
do.
not look forward to Monday as much as, and we, constantly shooting this show, constantly writing, figuring out what's important, what is not important. So much of this show doesn't end up on the show.
Right.
You might be thinking like, Zach and Jesse, 10 stories, couple, lightning rounds or whatever. I could do that. No. You don't see the 80 stories that we had to look at and be like, is this interesting? Is this important to these
how do
people
we tell
need
the
to
story?
know about it?
Right.
No, it's not happening yet. We're going to wait until it's actually relevant. So much of that work goes in and you don't see any of it. You just get hopefully the best stories every week. So we thank our Patreons. We thank everyone.
I do want to point out a podcast. A lot of people email me and they're like, how do I listen to podcasts in the car? So I think the only way to do it right now, without just using your phone, which you could do, that's easy. But if you want to listen right through Tesla, you use TuneIn. And so I think you need a TuneIn premium account. Now, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I think you need a premium account, and on your laptop or your desktop at home, you go in and you favorite our show. Then when you get in your Tesla, it's in your favorites. I haven't been able to find out any other way to do it besides that. So if you
Why are
find a better way,
podcasts so hard?
I know. You can listen to us on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, but in the car, TuneIn seems to be the only way to do it other than on your phone. Right. So if you like listening on podcasts, listen to us there.
You could also, if you have YouTube Premium, you could download it to your phone. I know it's an hour long, but you can still download it to your phone and just listen to the audio with YouTube Premium.
Sure.
Please, if you're in the car, just listen to the audio. If you're watching, I guess you watched a whole episode of Tesla Time News on the road.
Or maybe you're parked waiting for your kids to come out of school, and then you can watch.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Tesla Time News. We hope to bring it to you every single week. And signing off, Zach and Jesse, now you know.